Welcome to the first official episode of Xposed with Ash. I'm your host, Ash Shazoo, and I called in my family, my Bravery family. I'll let you guys introduce yourself. We got my Bravery brothers and my sister. And go ahead.
Well, so we'll do counterclockwise. All right. Hello, I'm Chris Sabala, host of Chris Sabala's Podcast Experiment. You can find us on at Cape Pod on all the socials.
I'm Marv, the owner of Bravery Studios. Good to meet you, I guess.
We got the king of podcasts.
Bravery up.
Yeah.
I am your favorite Mind Minx, host of the Mind Minx Show and co-host of Bravely Fit with your very own Ash.
It's your boy, you go boy with a mustache.
No Shave November.
No Shave November.
That's right. 80s Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, that's it.
Representing.
Definitely. Coming to America, all that good stuff. Host, creator of You Go Boy podcast, streaming on all digital platforms from Bravery Studios, of course. Also the co-host of Yo Bravery Sports, and musician and writer and dog walker and all that good stuff. And I like long walks on the beach too.
Yeah. I'm a Gemini.
Expectations.
Look at this guy, hamming it up. Give him a mic and he's
Used to be on the other side.
right. You're wallflower, but
I'm
now.
Steve. I'm a producer at Bravery Studios. I also am a co-host at Ultra Heels Wrestling podcast every Tuesday at 7.
So this is going to be a very chaotic episode, but I called everybody here for a reason. I feel the safest with you guys, and I do know part of Xposed with Ash, I'm exposing pieces of myself. And because I feel the safest with you, it's why not? Why not bring it?
Everywhere you look.
There's a copyright strike.
Everywhere.
Oh, whoops. I'm not helping, am I?
So actually, speaking of a cease and desist, so I have a business called The Wax Guru, and I had to move locations because I received a cease and desist in the mail because a place that I was working at wasn't legal.
Oh, like wasn't zoned for a business kind of thing?
There were office spaces, but to have like a aesthetic skincare anything, it has to be. There's codes.
Gotcha.
So I was in violation.
Sounds like an episode of Ozark.
Yeah.
Was it? Was it like rated by like feds?
It wasn't rated.
This close.
They took my pots of wax.
Yeah.
So I had to move my studio into a legitimate place, and now it's growing actually. So
Absolutely.
Nice.
business has doubled.
It's legal and growing.
It's legal and growing. So it had to. Yeah. Speaking of cease and desist, but
See what happens when the universe forces you?
yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kind of like a gravitational pull or something to where you are fit for this location instead of this location.
Yeah.
Because maybe something will happen in this location. Maybe it's God telling you, like, maybe this is your area, right?
Yeah. It happened fast too, because when I received the letter, I shut down my Instagram, made sure everything was quiet. Went on vacation, came back, and I went back to work the next day. And that same night, I signed a lease to a new spot. Yeah, it was that fast.
She did the Dave Chappelle, like, I'm going to leave for the country. Everything's coasted. The coast is clear. And
Gosh, you did the wire. You like switched up the operation real quick because they got too close to the
When push comes to shove, you gotta move. That's it.
Marv, you've had to move a business. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Business owners, like
Yeah, Bravery was somewhere else before it was here. So you did switch up.
When we moved here, someone bought the building. We were in Clifton. We were right by where Lakeview Bagel is. And one of our clients actually brought the building. Like one of our corporate clients brought the building and they wanted the space we were in. So it was a funny situation because like the guy I'm recording every Thursday is telling me I need to move by next week.
He was plotting that the whole time.
Yeah.
But it was nice because he wrote me a huge check and I was like, he's like, go wherever you want. And then it was good. I mean, coming here and building the rooms out and doing everything was rough, at the time. But, it shows how much strength you have and how much you're capable of when you're put in that kind of situation. So I'm proud of you.
And that you were able to grow into the space,
Yes,
too.
yes.
Because you didn't have this kind of space.
Claps.
Yeah.
Much smaller. We had a way smaller space.
Yeah.
Smaller than this whole kitchen.
Some applause.
Yeah, we had a way smaller space. But
Yeah, so it worked.
yeah, like you said, the universe throws you a bone and says, hey,
Yeah, it's time to level up.
yeah, exactly.
And Chris, you experienced it too. I mean, when you went from your amazing story to getting the shared universe
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going from one place to Bellworks is an amazing spot where you
Yeah, that's crazy. And, just kind of with a bit of luck, because I stopped doing my show completely in summer of 2016. I mean, it wasn't like I'm quitting, I'm done, I'm never doing it again.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know what else I was going to do, because I was in a studio in downtown Los Angeles in 2015, and they closed in October of 2015. So I became just another podcast doing the show from my apartment kind of thing.
Right.
And it was also, I was spoiled because it was video and they had a 3-camera setup and everything. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go back to just doing a show at home again.
Yeah.
But I was doing a show at home again. And because all the places were like way priced out. Like, I don't know how these places stayed in business circa 2016, 15, charging $400 an hour for a podcast. I'm like, you guys are nuts. Who's booking into this place? But yeah, so I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. Then fast forward to literally day one of lockdown, and it was like a cartoon. Like I pull this Rubbermaid tote with all my recording equipment out of the closet. I blow the dust off my mixer. It's like, and I plug it in, and I recorded the first episode just like, hey, so we're in quarantine. I'm guessing it's going to be this way for the next 2 months. But I knew it was going to be 2 weeks, because the initial thing was just like, for 2 weeks, everybody stay home. I'm like, yeah, right. This thing takes 2 weeks to incubate. But I was just like, I'll be doing this Mondays and Fridays for however long, because I need something to do. I need something to put my energy into, because there's only so much TV you can watch.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, that was March 16th, I think was the first day of quarantine. And then fast forward to early September, and I find a shared universe just through Instagram. And I'm like, oh, it's a podcast studio in Asbury Park. Turned out that was a location they leased for 2020 that they never went back to after lockdown started, but ended up moving in there. And then that has literally led to everything up to today. That's how Marv found me, and he and I connected through that. It's how I made the friends I've made and done a lot of the stuff that I've done, that we've done. So it's interesting the way that stuff happens. And you and I have had this conversation, and Ash and I talked about it too. The idea of just like stuff happens when you're ready for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
the timing of things is very, very interesting. You don't know it necessarily, but you're able to kind of, when you step back after a little while, you're like, wow, that really was it. At the point when, I mean, look, a year ago, you probably hadn't even thought about like, I'm going to host my own podcast.
Yeah.
Like everybody talks about it. Like, everybody can do a podcast. I should do one. But at this point, you're like, yeah, I'm ready to do my own thing, because
I had no interest.
Yeah.
well, no, totally.
No
That's it.
interest.
I remember you called me after I came on first class, second place. You called me the very next day and was like, yes, I'm doing one now. Like, you came on.
You were the push. You gave her the, like,
And-
No,
unintentionally.
he was
But
definitely the push.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to do that. I was just answering the questions.
Yeah.
You were
the inspiration. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's just like, she's like, I'm doing one now. Like, yeah, I need to get off my ass and I need to do this. And I was
Right.
like, I think everyone has that moment, when they, it's up to them, like, am I gonna do this, or am I gonna find an excuse to not do this?
Right.
So
And that's, and you came to it that way too, because you were part of another show.
yeah,
So, and then at a point you're just like, I'm ready to do my own thing, because, and then look at everything that's come about since you started doing your, it's just,
the first time I recorded here was for the bass,
Right.
and we still record, and they actually want to record here again, which was great. Which I was a guest for Under Review. That's when I met you. You had hair and a beard.
You had hair?
it's a choice.
Because that's the first time I met Marv. I knew he was the owner because I was like, he was so disheveled, and he's like doing so much. He had so much on him. He was going from room to room. He was still creating another room, and he's still doing that. So I was just like,
He just got his grooming routine now.
yes,
That's the difference.
yeah. He got his Manscaped deal, and he's good now.
He's keeping it together. That's
for sure. And it's
aesthetically and professionally. Yeah.
No, but it took me like 3 or 4 times coming here, and by the 4th time, I was driving to do Under Review with Steve on the boards, and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I need to be here. And as I started meeting people, like each and every time I met like a new set of podcasters, a new host, a new producer, I was like, this is exactly where I need to be.
Yeah.
And everything grew from that.
I wonder if that's how we all,
I think it is.
because that's
I
how
say so.
I felt.
I was saying that to Ash literally last night. Just the idea that, 9 months ago, most of us didn't know each other.
Yeah.
And I love that we
and-
all met on Marv's birthday.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We did.
So it's your birthday and our friendiversary.
Yeah.
We had met. Yeah.
We met, but even that was less than a year ago. I mean,
Yeah.
you and I met on October 20th was when I came here last year, because I had the reminder in my
And it really does feel like
calendar.
a family. Like, I really do.
right. Totally.
Mostly see each other on a regular basis. It's just like we did develop into a family. We developed into us knowing each other, our ins and outs, our like our vulnerable moments, our tough moments. We literally are getting to know each other more and more as we do this.
Totally.
And that's the beauty of this, the extended family that we have here. Like this is what makes this this studio, the podcast business really great. You know?
Yeah.
Like just to get to know each other, get to know everybody. Maybe people can relate to somebody here.
Totally.
It's all part of marketing, and you never know. You probably see your best friend here.
Yeah.
In the future. So that's why I just wanted to.
No, it's true. I mean, it's one of those things where, it would have been very easy for this studio to just be a business. We come in, we book, we do our shows, and that's it. And Marv has cultivated this community that he's welcomed all of us into. And because of that, I sincerely believe like we have all been of the disposition of just like we were open to all of this. And that's how we ended up converging, at the time we did, because, people come in and out of your lives, or, they're people, whether they're coworkers or friends or, something like that. And it's, I keep seeing this quote. It sounds really cheesy. It's one of those things people post on Instagram all the time. So forgive me for quoting it, but it is one of those situations where it's, some people come into your life for a reason. Some come into your life for a season. And it's like,
we talked about that. Yeah.
You said a classier version of it. I'm doing literally like the dumb Instagram shareable quote, I like the bikini model. It's different. It's literally though the chick in the thong who's showing off her BBL and and the caption is like, some people come into your life for a reason, that is for a season. And it's just like, honey, you did not. That's not the reason.
Days off.
Yeah.
Hashtag Motivation Mondays.
Yeah.
Hashtag motivation.
Hashtag all natural. No.
No, like we got this.
I'm gonna relook at all my hashtags now.
Hashtag LFG.
I had shared the reel the other day, and me and Chris were talking about it.
Yes.
Like the next day, that it was an amazing. It was from like either a motivational speaking conference, or it was from like a church service. And the person who was leading it said that there are people in your life that are assigned, and there are people in your life that are, kind of seasonal. They're just there. And I forget, I'm messing up the quote, but
right, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was that concept.
Exactly,
and it very well could have been a conference, or it could have been a sermon. I don't know either. But
it was just so powerful.
It was.
It resonated with me. I think of all the people that have come and gone in my life. I'm always attracted to creative communities. I've been signed to a record label, and I've told Ash this, I told Chris this a billion times, even when I came on the show.
Right.
It was like night and day. Like I'm around all these creatives, and they couldn't wait to tear each other apart. And the second somebody like showed initiative, like the work ethic or whatnot, I myself mainly, like it was just immediate resentment. Like you're making us look bad. Like what are you doing? Like let the other guys catch up. Oh, you're trying to make us look bad. You're an opportunist. You're just gonna leave the first chance you get. Like the opposite here. Like here's a genuine family where like people share ideas, they give advice. It's free. There's no agendas.
Right.
Everybody wants to see each other succeed. It's
exactly. There's no competition. Well, that's the same. I've been thinking about it lately too, because this month is 5 years since I moved back to Jersey, after an extra 6 years in Los Angeles. And thank you very much. Happy to be back. But it's funny how, as Ugo and I have talked about, and a bunch of other people who've either lived in LA or spent time out there, where it's like culturally, so many people I came across were, like the phoniness is real. I mean, that exists in all walks of life, but like out there, it is just a way of life. But the idea of just like, hey, congratulations, and everybody's commenting on someone's Facebook, whatever, it's just like, oh, I just got cast in, Superstore for, like an episode or something like that. And everyone's like, hey, congratulations, you deserve it. And meanwhile, those same people when they're talking about it privately, or when everyone's just hanging out and the person who got cast isn't there, it's just like, it's all about why that person doesn't deserve it, why they deserve it more than the person who got it. And all that's like, it's all like finite, like, well, they took my opportunity away from me kind of thing. And just the competition and the bitterness and all of that. And that was one of the things I couldn't stand anymore, because I'm like, that's not where I'm coming from at all. Yeah. Like my thing is like, we're all here to win. It's not about like, oh, you took that job, that was supposed to be mine. But I just couldn't stand that, because that's not where I'm coming from as a person. Like, that's just not me. And it's funny to me how, I went out there hoping to meet up with other creatives and find other people who are trying to do the thing and, forge a real group and, like find a community or build a community if I had to. And then I ended up finding that back here in Jersey. Like what I went out to California for, I ended up coming back here, but also because you know, when I moved out there in 2012, this didn't exist. You know, there weren't podcasting studios, there weren't communities like this. I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't have known where they necessarily were. But again, the timing and the fact that all this stuff is happening when and where, like, it means so much more to me to have this now, 5 years later, here, where I'm from, than to live on the other side of the country.
But I do think it's important to know when to walk away.
Totally.
That's the biggest part, where it's like, if you were to sit there and keep trying.
And that's it too. The recognition of just like, this isn't working for me anymore. I can't do this. And I even said that was the big reason I came back here. It's just like, if I'm going to struggle, because it's a struggle out there anyway. I mean, just financially, socially, everything for me was just like, this is not sustainable anymore. And this is diminishing returns at a point. So that was the big thing where I'm like, well, if I'm going to struggle, let me at least struggle where I'm closest, where I'm in the area of people who the people who mean the most to me, you know, my parents, my best friends, all of that. I'd rather be doing that here and then move back to Jersey and rebuild and figure that out than to keep doing this. Which is funny, people's reaction, because it's just like, oh, so Hollywood chewed you up and spit you out. I'm like, no, nobody kicked me out. Like, no, you're the show business. Sorry, I could literally still be there doing the same exact thing I was doing in 2013, 14, 15, 16. You know, but I said, like, I'm not doing this anymore. You know, it's not worth it. It's not getting me where I want to go. So I will go back and I will rebuild, because that's also just my constitution. I'm just like, I'm going to go back and figure everything out. And then now it's happened.
It's great that you point that out, because, you know, I had a similar situation where I was in Jersey as well. And, you know, I thought I could perfect my craft, whatever I was doing, over into the state I was in.
Right.
So when it came down to, you don't have your family, you don't have your friends, you don't have anybody to
Isolating.
Very
no
isolating.
support whatsoever.
Totally.
Then yeah, you're just gonna be miserable. Sometimes, or some people just don't get out of that situation at all. I remember struggling, just trying to get back here.
Totally.
I had to sell like everything, and you can ask him. I had to sell every like video game collection, everything that I bought over the years that I never want to let go. Everything, and I sold them cheap because I needed.
Because you're desperate. Yeah, it's just like
desperate. I could have sold them way more than what it was, but
totally.
Hey, I need to get home.
Yeah,
my dad was sick, you know, and I have nothing here. There's nothing for me here, and you know, I could do the same stuff that I could have done there to Jersey. Like I could have just came back and just like, okay, I could just perfect my craft with the people that I know,
right?
With the people that I'm around that will support me 24/7 about what I would want to do. So yeah, it's great that you brought that up, because I could relate to that.
Well, it's like people regard it as like, well, I don't want to quit. It's like, it's not quitting. Like you can just change your plan. Like we decide these things for ourselves, the direction we're going to move in, the things we want to do. And it's not unreasonable to give yourself, you know, a timeline, or, you know, to actually say like, I'm going to try this for so long. I mean, literally I would, you know, for a while, and that's why I couldn't stand living out there. I was Uber driving just to pay the rent. And there are people who are like, yeah, I figure, you know, I'll come out here and I'll give it 6 months. And then if nothing happens, I'm like, listen, don't unpack your suitcase. Okay. Nobody knows you're here. Everybody thinks they're going to arrive. And it's just like, oh, finally you're here. Great. Here's your TV show. Here's your role in a Marvel movie. It's like, nothing works that way, man. And I said that, you know, I moved out there as a voice actor. So I'm like, listen, nobody knows. If you're going to try to build a life out here, then do that. But like, don't come out here expecting just like, oh, now the party can start because you were here. And so many people honestly think that. And that's why when people say like, I'm going to give it 6 months, I'm like, dude, enjoy your time out here, but then go be a big fish in a small pond. Like if you had a good thing going at home, like then do that. Because like here, nobody knows who you are. And that's not a bad thing. But don't think like you're just going to step in this career that's just been waiting for you.
It'd be the biggest tease, though, honestly.
Oh, totally.
It'd be the biggest tease just to go. Like, just because if you're in a area that you're used to, you're going to think everywhere else is like a bigger opportunity.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, it's like the people
That's what I thought. I mean, I'll be
listen, how many people we know who peaked in high school who thought they were going to ride that wave for the rest of their life? And meanwhile, it's like, oh, it's never going to get any better than this. And then it never does.
Situation.
Oh, my God. Exactly. Yeah. It's just like the dude who was the quarterback and the cheerleader. Yeah, but it's true. It's like people think like, oh, this is how it's always going to be. No, it's not. But it's fine. You adjust along the way and you adapt, and you also just become more familiar with yourself as time goes on too, you know. And not to sound, you know, hokey about it, but you know, that stuff also just builds character. That moments are just like, oh, I can't, you know, if you can dig yourself out. Look, I had a lot of self-doubt because things weren't happening for me out in Los Angeles after a while, and I'm just like, maybe I'm just not that good, you know. That's what we Ash and I talked about it on my show recently, which if you want to go check it out, Cape 236, wherever you get your podcast, wherever you're watching or listening to this.
On all digital platforms.
Exactly.
That's called a plug.
But it is. Well, listen.
Or drop.
I get that from Ugo. The marketing machine over here. But the mustachioed marketing machine. Triple M.
I can't turn it off. I'm sorry.
No, but you're right, though. So you're good at that.
Thank you.
But, we talked about it, the idea of just the better you know yourself as you go along and the experiences that you have, like that's all part of just your progress, and your growth. And you're not necessarily going to know that from wherever it is you're starting, but you have to do something to figure it out along the way. Like you're not just going to, it's very easy to get on autopilot. And I think we've all done that. We're just like, I'm just trying to get through it.
I'm listening and I'm registering.
Yeah. I mean, you got to see it first. I think that's the beauty of it.
Totally.
I mean, I think, I talk about this with Chris all the time. That I love Steve Harvey. Like he's been dropping gems, especially now. And I didn't know like his story in depth until I watched him do Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast, where he was like, "Yeah, I went broke like twice.
Yeah,
and one of them was because of taxes. Another one was because of divorce. I made it. I'm down. I made it. I'm homeless. I'm sleeping in a car. I'm this famous TV star, but I'm broke.
Right,
like twice over. And then he's like, so I saw a reel of him recently. He was at some conference, just dropping gems as always, and he was like don't expect support. Like you got to see it first.
Yeah.
Like before you got into waxing and started a business, you saw, you just knew you needed to start, and you saw it as something. You weren't quite sure what it was. I'm sure Marv, before you decided to start a business, like, okay, I want to open up a podcast studio. Don't know where the hell I'm going to start it, but I'm going to start it or whatnot. Like myself is like, I'm gonna start my own podcast. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna record at. I'm gonna do it out of my house. Am I gonna do it in my basement? Originally, I was gonna do it out of my basement. Me and my brother bought the equipment for it. And I was like, with our schedules, it's not sustainable. And then again, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, it just, if you manifest it and you see it, like the things are gonna start to take shape or whatnot, and you're gonna start to meet the people and be like, everything changed for me when I started being around better people.
Totally.
I said that when I came on First Class Second Place. I was like, yo, when I started hanging around people that they were just excited for my successes as I was for theirs. And and when I saw them win, oh my God, like it felt like a win for me.
I also, I do also think that it's important to know who is genuine.
Yeah,
that too. There are people, and I know everybody at this table knows that I have had a run-in where I'm thinking this is good, and I was being torn down.
Oh, yeah.
So it's absolutely. Like knowing who is really in your corner and trusting your intuition, that is fucking key.
Yeah. Quick story. So when I was signed, the producer, I was friends with him. Like I'd known him for a couple years, through mutual friends and whatnot. And he was like a brother/father figure. Like I really poured a lot into him. I mentioned it when I did Chris's show the first time. And like it just turned out that I found this out years later that he was one of the biggest people that just hated my guts. He hated the fact that I was like ambitious. He hated the fact that he thought I was like selfish. I was like, yo, I'm a me guy. I'm an opportunist or whatnot. You guys have known me for a couple of years now, whatnot. The complete opposite. Like you come to me with a question. If I have any type of information to help, if I could do anything to connect you with somebody, because again, that's just the way I was raised. That's my character. And he really believed that. And he still believes that to this day. And I was like, you know what? There's a reason why, again, people are moved out of your life. They're seasonal. They were there to serve their purpose. You learn from that experience. And then you're around people. And I feel the love when I come here to record or when I come to an event or when we're out and about. And it's just awesome. Like last night, I'm on set for a movie because of this guy. You know what I mean? And on day 2, up till 5 a.m, eyes burning, barely getting any sleep.
Oh, and you came here.
Of course, because I committed to this. You right. Specific. It wasn't just in a group chat. You called me separately and texted me separately.
I will say though, Ugo and I, when the second we met, it was like, I don't know. And I even said, where I looked at him like, there's some, like I feel like I've known you.
I totally get that, and it's like it's just I said this the first time I interviewed with you on First Class Second Place. It's like, yo, you've got to see it first. You have to see it first. You got to see it before anyone else sees it. And the hardest part is starting. Yeah. It's not finishing. It's not even doing it. It's
Starting.
How many times
Taking the first step.
have you
taking
talked
the step.
yourself out of doing something?
How
The
many?
longest.
How many?
It's been
All of us?
It's been
We all probably have like 10 or a billion things.
Oh, definitely. No, it's 100 things.
Yes.
Just like, that would be great. And then you never actually take action.
Yes.
It's funny too, because
Yes.
it's, you know, you say that about like, you have to see it first. It was when Walt Disney World opened, and Walt Disney at that point had already passed away, but they were interviewing his brother Roy Disney about it. And there was one journalist who said, like, you know, how does it feel, you know, knowing that Walt didn't get to see Walt Disney World? And he said, the reason we're seeing it is because he saw it first.
ooh.
And it's one of those things where it's just, and look at that, you know, it's like, look at something like Walt Disney World. And again, that Disneyland was already a thing, but it's like, we're going to buy up a whole ass town in Florida and build it around, you know, this brand. But it's true. It's like, you need to actually be able to picture it.
Yeah. So that's my issue right now. I'm so good at just sitting back and listening, right? And I know that's part of what I want. You know, Xposed with Ash isn't just me. It's where you're comfortable enough to sit and tell me your story.
Yeah, we expose ourselves.
You know,
No.
No,
But you guys have no problem doing.
no, that's
on and off
that's
mic,
such an important part of like doing this. Like me and Marv have talked about this a billion times. Like, and I remember when he did Marv in the Morning. You need to bring that back up.
Marv is not horny.
I like that.
He was
Oh yeah, that predates you guys.
Yes.
That's right. That's how we met.
he was talking about, like, because again, he's recorded a bajillion podcasts, and you know, you got podcasters who come in and they just make it about themselves with a guest sitting right there or a group of guests right there.
I don't
Yeah.
like that.
So it's like this is always when people ask me advice about doing a pod. It's like, yo, the first thing you need to realize is you won. All right, your name's on the marquee.
Right.
You won.
Right.
Congratulations, you won. You don't need to remind people every episode that you won, because when they go to click on it or they see the footer at the bottom of the graphic, your face is there, your logo's there. You won. You're there to highlight the guest. You're there to highlight their story. You know, I called it Unfiltered Authentic Conversations on mine for a reason, because these conversations are about everything and anyone, but it's about the guest. And I'm going to tee it up and make it open-ended. So you have your platform, you by yourself, you there with your, I just did a married couple. I saw my first episode.
Wait.
Word that.
Yeah.
You just did.
I just did a marriage couple. And then I had him on the show.
For sure. Exposed with You Go Boy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in a Patreon.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I just
Check out You Swing Boy on Patreon.
exactly. You Swing Boy on OnlyFans. It's only the OnlyFans. No, I just had a married couple on the You Go Boy podcast on episode 30. 30, yeah.
That's completely different.
Yeah.
That is 100% different. Oh boy.
I love it.
We don't let you get away with anything.
Awesome.
That's true friendship.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all
But I love that you just said that, because that's one of the compliments that I've always gotten from my guests that I've been able to get on my show. They'll say, you know, we felt like we were the center of attention, not, you know, whoever the interviewers were.
Totally.
And I've had a lot of people say, you know, they made me feel like I was doing them a favor as opposed to them doing me the favor.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many. That's one of the ways to learn. You know, with this being your first show, that honestly is one of the ways to learn how to do it. Is what not to do.
Yes.
Because there's
Learn that first.
Oh my God,
Learn
there's
that
so
first.
many podcasts. Well, at least in as much as figuring out what you are going to do with your show. Like, here are the things I'm not going to do. You know, it's like I did a lot of interviews in 2021, specifically on Zoom, just because we were, you know, pre-vaccine and even post-vaccine, because it was convenient and it was easy to get people like to make time, because you're just, you know, recording it whenever. The idea of like, there's so many people who like, let me tell you how cool I am, you know,
Yeah.
while to a guest. Like that's the big deal. And it's like, no, they are supposed to actually be the center of attention. Like you're having them on to talk about them, to ask about them, not to show them how cool you are. And when you see enough people who do that's the dynamic of their show,
It's so
like,
cringe.
it really is.
Or I'm sorry, it gives me the ick.
Yeah. I mean, all the above.
Yeah.
But it's true though.
My daughter just taught me what mid was. I think we talked about this last night.
That's the thing.
Mid.
That's the thing.
I don't understand though.
Like
I
me.
can't. Mid.
Basically, like meh. That's what I said. It's like meh.
Yeah,
No.
it's basic. It's basic.
Can I talk about me for a second?
Nope.
I was
It's kind of your show.
I was
It's kind of
asking,
your show.
I was asking my
You can
daughter.
do whatever you want.
Yeah. Or don't make it about the guest.
Or don't.
That's fine too.
Or don't.
So I was asking, well, this may be off air, but I was asking my daughter, I'm like, oh, so what else do your friends say? And she was like, can I say it? I'm like, say what? She goes, am I allowed to curse? I'm like, yeah, go ahead. She told me, and I told Celli, I was cracking. I'm like, yes. She's like, yeah, they say you're a hot ass bitch. I was like, I was not mad at all. I'm like,
Wow.
cool. How did they know? And she was like, the moms were sharing your picture from WhatsApp.
Oh.
So I was like, so it's in the mom group, and somebody overheard. I'm like, is it?
They're keeping you away from the dads.
Yeah. That's by design.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. I didn't think about
You're
that.
that mom.
Yeah, you're that mom now.
That's not.
No, that's a great thing.
No, that's a great. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
you're surrounded by guys. That's a great thing. All right. Yeah. There's one. You're the one.
I'd rather be that mom.
I
Yeah.
could picture like a wanted poster, like "Do not go near her."
Yeah.
If I was in that position, I'd rather be that mom. Shit.
Yeah.
The hottest bitch in there.
You want to be the opposite.
Well, there's a drop.
For sure.
All right, back on track.
I say those right on track, but you know,
It's not in
that's
here.
exposed. Look at you.
Sorry. So my dad never came to school for any situation ever, but he came one time in 7th grade, and the teacher's talking to him in the hallway. I guess I got in trouble because I couldn't shut up. And she comes back inside, and she's like, "Oh, your father is pretty handsome." And she's like fanning herself. I was like, "What the?
What is happening right now?
What world?
That's just."
Now I
Yeah,
need
show
to
me a
see
picture. Show me a picture.
I was like, "That's
No.
Show me a picture.
that's the full story."
That's
I just never forgot how weird that was because she was like fanning herself.
Smoke shop.
Wait, now I
Smoke
have to
shop.
see a picture of when you were in 7th grade, though. I want to see if
That's why I'm laughing. Because I know.
I think it's time to see a picture. Oh no, I get that.
Seems like your dad is handsome.
That's gonna be the thumbnail for this episode.
Is he? All right. That's an awkward. Like as a kid though, because you're like because to you it's just dad. You know, like 12, 13. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wait, that wasn't that long ago. I keep forgetting you guys are a lot younger. Well, except for Chris.
Wow.
Oh wow. Wow.
Wow.
That's what
That for exposed.
ladies and gentlemen, that's what they call shade.
That was shade. That's not shade.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Oh, are the kids?
Streaming all digital platforms.
Are the kids still saying shade?
Yes. That's
Oh God.
Literally, I'm still the oldest one in the building at all times, every time. So,
yeah. So
but
what
you guys are so much younger. So, how long ago was that? Like, how old is your dad now? Is he single?
Because
Oh, never.
has he aged out, Celli? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's aged out.
Just checking. Yeah.
Speaking of parents in childhood, right? So I want to put a little tidbit in Exposed with Ash.
Go ahead.
What's your short favorite childhood memory?
Short operative word.
Your parent?
With parents or just your, because that's, when you're young.
Good thing.
No. Good
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah, no trauma this time.
We're-
That's for the
To put warning labels for any trauma episodes.
Good moments. That's why.
So no, but honestly, so do I, and we'll have our own sit down on the show where
I got
we
one.
can actually, get deep if you want. Because
I got one.
I get
Let me give everybody time. Yeah. Let's buy some time for everyone else.
Let me call your therapist.
It could be it could be a glimmer. So I just learned that glimmers are, how you have a trigger, right? A
Mhm.
glimmer is just that small piece of memory that just makes you smile.
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. It's
Yeah.
a glimmer. It's just a little, like
that's good.
Tinkerbell, just a little glimmer.
Pixie dust. A little glimmer of pixie dust. In 4th grade, my teacher, Mr. Jacobs, he had, it felt like an eternity in a good way. It may have been an hour realistic because you're 10. Time is so relative. And everything feels like forever because you're only 10 years old. You have no sense of scale. But we had realistically, it was probably like an hour of just creative writing almost every morning. And that was really like just to kind of sit and daydream and write stuff out. Like that obviously had a big influence on me because I'd be daydreaming anyway. But to have that time in school, like sanctioned time to sit and be creative was like, as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old was just like mind blowing. So that was really important as far as even just getting that degree of encouragement. Cause I used to get in trouble for like writing stuff, in 3rd grade, literally the year before I had to be, writing ideas down, like sketching in my notebook or something like that. So the idea that there was like, oh no, this is, you're given this time, you have permission to just dream and just write some stuff. And if you wanted to get up and read what you in front of the class, you could do that. You didn't have to, but it was one of those things that was just very, as a kid who had a wandering mind anyway, now we call it ADHD, but it was great to actually just have that time in class, just to daydream, just to write. And I'm sure I still have that stuff sitting somewhere, but just the idea of having that in school was like, that was
awesome.
That was a good moment. That's what sprang to mind when you mentioned that. I think back to that and it makes me happy that I had that time as a kid.
It's really cool. I love that.
For favorite.
You have any glimmers, Mark?
Any glimmers? I have a lot. I mean, I had a great childhood.
Aside from your teacher meeting your dad.
Yeah, that was weird. That was a weird one. I'm still confused about that. But
We should get her on the show.
I have a lot to choose from, so it's kind of hard. But
Oh, good for you.
yeah,
No, like I got a lot of good moments. I don't want to brag or anything. But.
I don't know. I used to love riding bikes around town with my friends. I mean, I've had great
Ooh, yeah.
times playing video games. So it's
Riding bikes on trails.
it's not that easy to narrow it down.
That's a good thing.
Well, that's good.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a cool thing that my dad did one time that I was like really impressed by was my Dreamcast, which is what that thing is over there. If you don't know, it's a video game system.
Yeah. For the kids out there.
It stopped working for some reason, and like I just gave up on it. I was like, it doesn't work anymore. It's done. And it was like my favorite thing ever. And he fixed it one time. Just like he just opened it up and like started tinkering with the wires.
Exactly.
And it,
Yeah, that's
He blew in all my cartridges.
yeah, I don't know what he did. He started tinkering with it and like messing with the wires, and he turned it back on, and it started working again. And I was like,
nice.
whoa,
Like my dad's a wizard.
yeah, like holy snap, like this guy did something cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I did. I really did.
Totally.
I really never forgot. He probably doesn't even remember that at all, but that was like a really cool moment because I was like proud. I was like, yeah, look at that. He did it. He did something really, really cool.
Nice.
But that's
good. That's a good one.
It's really good.
My glam. I guess I would say, and we talked about this the other day. We had gone on a cruise when I was a kid, and it was one of the best memories I ever had because I got to do whatever. I felt like my own person. I didn't feel like I was stuck by my parents because on the cruise they had like the kids only stuff.
Right,
so
right.
The only time I saw my parents when it was time to go back to the cabin and get ready for dinner.
So you had to be an independent person for
Yeah.
the first time.
Yeah,
That's cool.
That's good.
13.
Nice. Oh, so that's right when you start to get it, like when you start craving that too.
Yeah.
So that's like the perfect age to be like, I'm on my own. This is great.
Yeah.
And I
This is
remember
what
we went to
adulthood
the private beach that all cruise ships have or whatever. And my dad had seen me for the first time in days. And he's like, where the hell have you been for this whole week?
I'll have a panic attack as a parent.
Yeah, Ash is too anxious to like let her kids have freedom.
Like, he was mad at me. And I was
They'll be tethered to her forever.
I think it's made me the parent that I am now because I'm definitely that, like, we're the opposite. Like, she's
Yeah.
a helicopter mom and I'm the sink or swim mom. Like, dude, I did not do my job right if you can't figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm working
Takes
on
all
it.
kinds. She is. Ash is going to have the leash for the kids, but she's going to have the collar on herself. Like
Yeah.
they got to cart her around. Oh, I want to be where you are.
But weren't you saying that a lot of parents
bad way.
who weren't taken care of
Yeah,
felt
so
safe?
that's what was told to me. It was actually in therapy where they said that the overprotective mother was the daughter who wasn't protected.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
that's
That makes
so
sense.
I'm
That makes
very
sense.
protective of my kids because I have been put in situations that
Right. Well, so you saying that kind of made me think I must not have had as bad as, what every child thinks their childhood is because I am not overprotective at all. If anything,
that's good.
if anything, thank God I had boys and not girls because I'm not like she'll be on the phone with me and my son will be at the door trying to talk to me and I'll be like, can you please just go away? True story.
I've heard that.
True story. Can you just please go away? Well, I'll stand here and be, then just stand there and be quiet.
Right. Not
Literally
now.
this morning.
Literally this morning, that's how the conversation went. I see you every day, I told him.
That makes sense. The pendulum swings in the other direction, I feel like, with parents a lot of times.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
All right, now you can go.
All right.
It's okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm gonna let you continue. Is there part two?
Is there what's your glimmer?
Oh man. Well, my parents were immigrants, so and we grew up poor, so and working.
In other words, good times.
So good times, like the show for sure.
I wasn't going to say it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were alluding to it. You were setting it up. But when you're growing up that way, you're growing up in the hood and so forth. You just this is this life. It's just every day. Like you don't realize it. Even when you go to nicer neighborhoods or see it on TV, you're just like, oh, my neighborhood looks like Boys in the Hood. So, oh, that's like a Tuesday here. Yes,
Because they got palm trees, makes everything. That's why, dude, I remember.
that too.
Yeah, dude,
That too.
I was 12 watching those movies, and I'm just like, doesn't look that bad. Like, you take the guns away, is it that bad?
Friday looks like a suburb.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
You're like, why is
Well,
everybody
because
mad?
historically, that's what it was built as.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
That was the goal.
But it's like,
Yeah.
why is everybody
That
mad?
was
It's
the
like
goal.
it's 70
Yeah.
degrees. Everyone's hanging out on the porch and there's palm trees.
Yeah.
What's everybody upset about?
The gunshots probably. More likely.
But like, why? If I got sunshine all the time, I'm not even looking for a gun.
Yeah, exactly. But East Orange, Newark, Irvington, Patterson, just insert.
But in my mind, yeah, watching Friday in 1993, I'm just like, if the sun's shining, why are you even thinking about getting a gun? Why aren't you hanging outside getting some sun? Looks awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday. It's a
Glimmer.
Wednesday.
Glimmer.
or Tuesday. Or Tuesday.
Yeah, we're way.
But no, so I mean, but anytime like it was funny you mentioned like upbringings and stuff. Like me and my brother's older, but I was kind of treated like the older sibling because my parents, they trusted me to just kind of just do my thing. And they poured all their energy to, what's your brother doing? What's your brother doing? What's your brother doing? What's your brother doing? And so I was, I don't want to say I kind of raised myself, but in a lot of ways I kind of did because I got good grades and they were just like, all right, watch as much TV as you want. Okay. You want to play basketball? We know to come home. They wouldn't really check on me because, and I resented that for the longest. I resented my brother for that for the longest. But then I realized that's a gift. That's made me who I am.
You guys be you're a free range kid?
Yeah. Like I get shit done and I figure stuff out because my dad was working, my mom was working, and they were worried about my brother. And it's like, yeah, we'll get to it. He'll figure it out. And so I remember my for Halloween, and one of the gifts of having an older sibling is the hand-me-downs. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, hand-me-down, and it's Halloween, so I remember hand-me-down costumes all the time. And I got Superman one year, who used to be my brother was formerly Superman, so I got his. So he had lost the mask and he had lost the cape, so it was just the Superman.
It's just a cheap plastic.
Yeah, just classic.
You throw over yourself.
Classic hood, man. Classic hood story. So I told my mom, I was like, Mommy, we always used to do a Halloween parade at my grade school, and like they bring in the high school band to play the drums and whatnot, and we just would go around the field,
Walk in a circle.
Yeah, walk in a circle, but the band's getting down, playing everything, and it's a party. It's one of those like black bands, you know what I mean? That put assassin like
Exactly.
like the whole time.
Swinging the whole time. Swinging.
I was nervous because I was like, oh man, I just got the Superman outfit. I don't got the mask. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get clowned. Because I already got clowned for wearing Payless shoes anyway and being African. So I was like, here comes another thing for them to get me on like, yo, you ain't a real Superman. You ain't got no cape, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like dreading that leading up to the days of the Halloween parade. So I told my mom a couple of days, I was like, Mommy, I need like my brother Chitty, I was like, Chitty lost the cape, he lost the mask. Like, I need the rest of the outfit. She's like, I'm sorry, I'll see what I can do. I'm sorry. That was my mom's. I realized this, when my mom said, I'll see what I can do, behind the scenes, she's doing everything she can to make it happen.
Oh,
Right.
That's why.
Yeah.
So, I don't get choked up talking about it.
It's all right, man.
No, it's cool. I don't know why that's getting me. She got the mask and the cape, and the day before, she just surprised me with it, and it was there. And I was getting ready to go to school, and it was right there. And I was so happy.
Thank you so much for sharing.
I don't know why.
You win. Dude, you win.
She came out of nowhere.
No, I told you. Didn't I warn you?
Oh,
Didn't I warn you that I drag it out of people? No, thank you so much for sharing. But that was like
The moms are just sitting there.
Did I not already explain what type of mom I am? I got him a tissue.
the tissue.
no.
I got him a
Oh.
tissue.
No, I'll end up crying, and I don't want to mess up my makeup just yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you got a host.
Wow.
I'm just another panelist.
I don't know.
no, that's it. No,
Oh, dude.
no.
It's age. I'm telling you. One of these days, everything's going to stir you up, dude.
That's a great memory, and I'm sure that if your mom was to see that, something so small to her was like, oh yeah, I did it. I got him the cape. Me as a mother myself, knowing what I would do and just hand it, and to know that it was that impactful for one of my children, that's a good. I think you should show her this. Now, I have to make sure that. Yeah, that's such a great memory, and I love that. I love that you're able to be vulnerable. I love you.
Yeah, man.
So you know what I say about crying? And it was taught to me by a spiritual mentor. And she said, your tears are salty just like the ocean. We go to the ocean to release and renew our spirits, our body, and you go there to just let everything go. So when you're crying, but she said that because you can't get to the ocean to release, that's your body's release because we're 70% water. So you're supposed to cry, you're supposed to let it go, you're supposed to that's your release, and it's going to lift you up after you let it go.
That is so poetic. You know what mine is? Crying is an orgasm for the soul.
It's not raunchy.
It is raunchy, but it's true. It's like, listen, gentlemen, do you like coming? No. Ask your mirror's reflection if crying may be right for you. You know, I mean, listen.
No, we were talking about that when we were talking about the album.
Don't put your head in your hands.
I 100% did. Every time I listen to you speak.
She doesn't know what's going to come out.
You continue to be appalled by me. And I'm proud and ashamed.
Wait, did you not see how many times I put my hand?
Oh, I did, but I had a show to do. So I'm a pro.
No,
so every time I saw
you brought that up when you came on when you were guest on my show.
You got your
you're a guest.
I did what on your what?
Yeah, exactly. You were a guest on my show and you were talking about the first time you watched The Out by yourself.
Yeah.
You know how
the night before,
the night before the premiere.
Before the premiere, because I was like, I'm going to get emotional watching this on screen. So I
That
watched
was
it.
the first time you saw it?
Oh no, I watched it like once a week from between when I finished it in July and the screen. But I knew like since it was like when we had our premiere in mid-October, and I was like, this is going to screen for an audience, and I was kind of thinking about like how I was going to react to it. So our block was at 9:30, and I was leaving to get to the theater at like 6:30, something like that. So it was 5 o'clock, and I'm like, I'm going to sit and watch it now because if anything needs to get out of me, I'm going to get it out now because I'm not going to do this in front of my friends, in front of a crowded theater of people and all that. And I did. And I watched it and the credits rolled and the video just stops. And I sat there for a second, just kind of sat for like a minute. And then I cried it out because I was like, this is real. This is going to be playing for people tonight. And it felt good. But I was just like, I don't want to do this in front of everybody else because, it's supposed to, hopefully people are going to enjoy it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to set the tone. Just like this dude sitting there like, grabbing his face. It's just like, oh, you didn't look that bad on a big screen. Like, come on, calm down.
Plus all the time and the energy we put into it.
It was. Well, you didn't even eat all day. You were so you were so tense about like this because it's real. Like that's what makes it real. And like just kind of feeling that. And I know myself. That's one of the things like Ash and I have talked about self-awareness a lot. And it's going to be a recurring theme here on Xposed with Ash. But it's like I recognize that I'm going to react to this in some way. So if it's going to happen, let me have this in private. Not like, oh, I can't show emotion. I'm stoic, all that other like male bullshit. But I'm like, let me address this now so that I can have the moment, and then it's not in me later on when it's a celebration where we're having fun, And it wasn't, and I was able to just watch it. And except apparently, I'm reliably informed that I was mouthing along with the dialogue at some points, which I'm like, well, that's better than I'm like, I know this thing inside and out. Like I wrote 9 drafts, and then I edited it, and I've been watching it once a week since.
Yeah, 14 pages of dialogue. And
yeah. You keep rubbing that in my face.
Just saying.
You killed it.
I'm just saying.
It's just like
it's not natural.
It's like hitting me with a rolled up newspaper every time he brings it up. It's bad dog.
It's like recording 30 podcast episodes in like one day.
This is my 4th podcast in 9 days. So
Exactly.
it's a lot of talking. Steve, what's your glimmer?
All right, let's get Steve's glimmer.
I don't think I could top.
It's not a competition. It's not a competition.
No, I know it's not topping, but it's just like, dang,
I mean, Ugo won, but it's not a competition.
He definitely won.
He won.
So don't even try.
He did. Yeah. I'm submitting that.
I can only hope to make it
Can
a
I have
positive.
this so I can use for promo for my film?
I can only hope to make it a positive to where it's intended too. Like to my story. I got one question though, for everybody.
All right.
Did you guys ever get beaten when you were a kid?
What?
Yes.
Did you guys ever get beaten when you were a kid?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We call it
Yeah.
discipline.
No. Yeah. Discipline.
Yeah.
You got
My dad was raised by immigrants.
no. That probably felt.
Yeah.
I'd never known what that is. I really never.
What, getting
knew.
hit? Is it good? Really?
The only time I got hit was, I think I was out in a party when I was a kid, and then my mom just slapped me in the backside. That's it. Like that's
wow.
it. That's just little shit. But with that, my father used to give me. I was one of those kids. Watch, I'm gonna get judged now. I was one of those spoiled kids. Okay, so I was the one that always wanted to get like the first game, the first like Genesis, Super Nintendo, whatever.
Something's
My
never changed.
dad, yeah, right.
That cement was dry a long time ago.
Some things never change, guys. But
Right.
the thing is, like, my dad was always committed. My dad was always committed to buying whatever makes me happy, even if I was tearing down, like fucking crying. I remember I was this little spoiled bitch. I was like,
Oh my god.
I hated myself when I was a kid. That's why, like, I hated what I become.
This is your happy memory?
This is I'll get to the happy.
No,
moment.
I know.
I'll get to that. I'm telling a story.
I know. It's just like I was a bitch.
Telling
I
a
was
story.
crying. It's like,
When I was 15, years after that, when I was 15, my parents wanted to take me to Disney World, or Disney World in Florida, right?
yes. Walt Disney World.
Okay.
It's technically.
Great, you brought that up.
Thanks, man.
So
That's what they call it. So that's what you have to. It's
Yeah.
Walt Disney World.
Wherever
It's like all
the-
three, like a Tribe Called
wherever the land of the Mickey Mouse guy is, wherever.
That's what. Yeah. Those guys. There's a castle. There's a big golf ball. And
Yeah.
Anyway.
I remember my trip. Damn, I hate myself for that. I remember my trip. I remember hating the whole experience. Yeah. I wasn't excited to go to Disneyland. I thought it was for babies and all that stuff.
Oh,
I was one of those kids because I was in high school in East Side, and I was like, mentality, I was like, I don't want to be a fucking baby shit.
This is cool, man. That's.
And I was crying to my dad, like, Dad, I don't want to go. Like, I was terrible.
You're an adolescent, dude. We were all insufferable.
I was terrible, bro. Like, even my woof. All right, so we went to this hotel right before we got to Disneyland. I remember I just one night they were sleeping. We were all sleeping in a room. I snuck out of the room. There was a pool in the back part of the hotel. Nobody was there, so I thought. I went to take a dive. I didn't know it was like 8 feet in the water for 9 feet. Mind you, I didn't know how to swim.
Oh.
Yeah, I was fearing for my life. I was in danger. Some guy literally was there. Like, I don't know where he was, but he got me out of the water. He got me out of the pool right in time, too. I almost faded. So he got me out. I was like, thank you. And then bounced because I didn't want to get in trouble. I was like 15. I didn't want to get in trouble because, then my parents get involved and all that. Now, I was more excited now to go to the trip because I'm alive. I'm alive. That's when I grew up. When I grew the fuck up.
Right.
Dude, like, and then my dad, God bless his soul, he tried to do everything to make me happy. Everything. Because he quoted, this is what he always say, like, you're always my baby.
Aw.
I only
And,
brought one tissue, man.
I know. Sorry, I'll hold this back. Hold it back. Don't worry. But with that, he bought me my video games. He bought me, my own room. Like, he got me my bed, got me everything, TV, what I need. And when I wanted to start like video game stuff, like, he bought me the controllers, he bought me everything. So he knows that I'm good and comfortable because he said he didn't want me in the streets.
Yeah.
Because he seen me a lot with the streets, and I used to roll with like gang members and stuff. So that was always like a deep thing to where my parents wants me to be good. And I always take that to heart now because whenever I have future children, I don't want them to honestly grow up where bad things are happening.
It's a very real.
It's just, this stuff is real around here. Like, it gets really bad. So I know how it is to be happy, and I know how it is to be to have something tragic happen to you. But always remember, like, your glitter is you being here.
Yeah.
Your glitter is always you being here, being alive, and being healthy. Some of us might not be healthier than others, but they're trying. They're trying. I commend both of you for getting healthy too. Like, that is always a great thing, because I know you guys are going to be here longer. And that's great. And if I ever, God forbid, if I ever go, I want to have the same smile that my dad gave everybody. Just like how I'm giving everybody
Oh,
here.
I love that, Stephen. Look at my sweet face.
Well, Ash, good luck with this show. The bar set really high.
I think we gave a good
These guys have set the bar really, really high.
Honestly, but I have to give myself props to. I really do feel like I make you guys feel comfortable enough to feel safe.
No, we do. Listen, that
to
is-
make, like I do pull stuff out of people. Like I
You do.
keep warning you guys. It's a gift.
to bring it all back to kind of where we started. All of this comes from, man, you got him all choked up again. Look at this. You got 2 rounds out of Ugo.
No, I love knowing a deeper sense of you guys too. That's beautiful, and I'm so
Mind you, I
grateful that
never
you're
told
sharing
this story
this.
but him.
Right.
He's the only one that knows the story.
But see, this is where we're at, where it's like, you know, we've all come into each other's lives. We're all here to stay. You're all stuck with me anyway. I don't know.
You're definitely stuck with me.
Oh, deal.
I'm
man.
clinched on already.
Now that I see the depth of Steve, oh my God, forget it, dude. You and I.
You're starting to see what he sees now.
I love it. I love you, Steve. I'm not ashamed to say it.
I love you too, Chris.
Thanks, man.
I love everybody here.
I love
Yeah,
when
same.
you guys say I love you because
No, it's true. It's like, listen, life is too, ladies and gentlemen, life's too fucking short.
It is.
It can be really long at times. Don't get us wrong, but it's really, really short. And you can show emotion. You can show appreciation for the people while they're here. And at the same time, we know we're all lucky enough to have found each other through our own different paths. You know, they converged at a point literally within the last year. And this is where we're at. We got, you know, some of us getting more dusty than others, you know, on the show, but it's still like we're all comfortable here.
And if I could add to that, like we're all, life is short, but we're living the short life doing what we love to do.
Totally.
This is all what we love to do. Everybody got an individual thing. We're all podcasters,
right,
as well. And we're all living our dreams. We're all trying to make the best out of it, even for our future generations.
And we're doing it together.
Yes. And that's the best part. We're doing it together.
Yeah, I was leaving set last night, 5 a.m.
This morning.
This morning.
I was leaving
this morning
6 hours ago.
A couple hours ago. I was lucky enough to get a ride with my scene partner, and we have a long. It's kind of like the remix to Out, like it's long like dialogue.
Nice
at a public establishment and back and forth and whatnot. And you know, it's the first time we had met, me and this lovely young lady, and so. She just asked, like, open-ended. She's like, so aside from acting, like, what do you do? And then I was like, well, you asked.
How much time we got?
How much time we got? It was about 40 minutes. It was out of the Highlands, yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it's in that area. So about 40 minutes to back
a lot of Parkway between there.
A lot of Parkway South. Or Parkway North. Parkway North coming back. So she had asked me, and I was like, I've never been busier in my life. And I've always been doing something, but what is so beautiful and so gratifying now is since 2019 when I came back from Europe to literally today, I'm only doing things that I want to do that's like pushing the ball forward down the field of like things, dreams and stuff that are about me. I'm not working a job that I hate. I'm not at somewhere that I can't wait till it ends. I'm not like Sunday night, oh shit, tomorrow's Monday. Well, if I could just get to Tuesday, if I could just get to Wednesday, and then Sunday comes, I'm like, shit. Well, if I could just get to Tuesday over again, I'm not in that. I'm not in that. And like my weeks are so full, my days are full, but I'm doing what I want to do, what I've dreamed of doing. And I'm doing with great people on top of that. So I think that I don't mind being half tired and half asleep. I don't mind that, having to drink coffee. I hate coffee. I don't mind it because I'm where I'm supposed to be with the people I'm supposed to be with. And you know, so and again, one more time, I'm on set because I meet a guy through a guy because of this guy.
Because of this guy.
Because of this guy. And then when we met, we found out we were born a day apart. I was like, that's scripted. No freaking way. Yeah, right? And like we clicked immediately. And you know, when we had a couple months ago when he announced the Bravery network of shows, and I'm sitting right next to him because you had mentioned to me in passing when I'd recorded one of my episodes. I was like, yes, like I'm all for it. What do you need from me? Like, yes, like I'll carve a space in my schedule of a billion things because this is important. You know, like this matters. And you know, when you said that that you were launching a show, I was so happy you were launching a show. I was actually surprised you didn't have a show of your own. I was like, yeah, like yes, you have the presence for it. You have the aura of it. You bring stuff out of people. Like, and again, since you wax and you already have that connection with people, like I already know too much of it aside from 40-Year-Old Virgin. Honestly, I'm just like, yo. But then I remember the first time you had told me, like, no, this is what I really do, and these are, and then freaking one of your clients I'm friends with, like, and I was like, wow, like small world, but this is supposed to happen, and it's supposed to happen for you, and I'm glad that we all get to share, the beginning of it.
Well, thank you.
Ever since you started First Class Second Place, I knew that you you were trying to get into it. You were getting ready. You were like, oh, you were filling it out, and I saw it, and I was like, I always saw talent in you. I did. I always, and you were asking me like in the first beginning. I remember you came up to me. He's like, "Oh, what should I do? I'm nervous and all that." And I'm like, "Just be yourself. Just go in confidently."
I was like, you guys sure you want to see this mess?
I was like, "Yeah, go." So I'm very proud of you, of how you flourished into being a podcaster and having your own show. I think it's wonderful that you have your own show now. It's great. And I can't believe the first episode, I already teared up. Me and Hugo got teared up.
Dude,
It was like, wow, this is
you guys set a standard.
Show.
You guys set a standard.
This is the show right here.
Yeah.
Usually I'm producing your shows. So,
right?
Wow.
I'm so when I crack for my own show. So.
I'm very fortunate to be a part of your first show, and along with our Bravery family. So, of course, good luck with the show. And if you ever need help, let me know.
You.
Yes, congratulations.
I'm not used to getting
on your own show.
nice things.
The first.
How are you gonna do your outro?
True. Well, you've been here the whole time. Literally, you've worked with Ash since she started doing this at all. So to see it come to, it's like it makes sense.
My cheeks hurt.
We've done our job,
Kool-Aid
guys.
smile.
We've done it.
That's
We've
what you
done
call a
it.
Kool-Aid smile.
So as far as my goals for this show, and I think I covered some of it with you guys, where I want to get deep. I want people to see who we are out like underneath that surface level. You know, I didn't know Steve was this deep as far as talking about being open about, not just talking about being open about your childhood and
A little more, so it's gonna happen.
yeah. So
nice.
even I do know that I am gonna bring most of you guys on individually.
Yeah.
As long as you're open to it, where we can have these deep conversations. I do want to get to like the core of who we are, what makes us tick, and what event in your life has made you transform into the person you are today. You know, I think that's important, and there are events that happen in our life that it shifts your entire way of thinking, of living, of just being grateful. And some people it's for the good and some people it's for the bad, where they have something that shifts and it's like they become the villain. But what did you do to make them that villain?
Right.
Like, you know, like let's be real. Like life is life in some
Yeah.
Life be life and
life be life in.
Every day.
You know, so that's like my goal is just to let's get deep. Let's crack open your chest and expose what
that's right.
the deep states. Yeah, you
Crack us open like a lobster. Just
crack it open, peel back those layers. But I'm so
every
happy
week
you
on
guys-
Exposed with Ash.
Not every week.
We
I
will be
don't have
going-
the energy to do it every week. Can you imagine the amount of therapy I would need again?
Or maybe you
to,
wouldn't,
like
because you'd be like, I get to watch other people cry and I feel better about myself.
it is therapy.
It's therapeutic. It's totally
when
therapeutic.
people ask me what's one. Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
They ask me like, what's one of the favorite parts of it? It's just like, yo, like my show feels like it's therapeutic for me. Like
Totally.
hearing people's stories and hearing people's like journeys. Yeah, for sure.
I have to go back to work. But I just want to say that you got this.
Thank
and
you.
I love you.
Love you too.
And it's about time.
I know. Thank you guys. I'm still figuring it out as I go. And I'm really happy that everybody's here to share this with me, at least this first moment, because this was huge. There's no way I could say I'm scratching this episode, because the first one I did with Jacob, I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. You know? But I am so happy you guys are able to help me pull my weight. Right?
We are honored to be a part
Yeah,
of the launch of
course.
Exposed
Yeah,
with Ash.
I was honored.
Totally
When you
honored.
said you wanted me to be honored.
To
I was
be
like, yes, it's an easy yes.
That was super easy. Yes, when you
Easy
asked me.
yes.
Of course.
Like, yeah.
Thank you.
It's like get up in the morning and be funny. All right. Why not?
Yeah,
Well, I have to thank you guys, my Bravery family. You guys are
of course.
awesome.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
this is
First
the
minute.
conclusion of your first episode of Exposed with Ash.
Yay.
That's it. Bye, guys.